Howdy there, Coastal Bend. We've had a very hot stretch of weather here for not only the month of August or July, but also back into June. So far, we've seen 22 days above 100 degrees this summer, and all of those coming from June, July, and August. Normally, we see 3, maybe 4 of these days. But again, we've seen 22, so we're in second place for the most 100-degree days, just behind 2012, which saw right under 30 of those afternoons. So very hot weather continuing here in the Coastal Bend, 98 degrees right now, but feels closer to 115, so very, very hot here. But thankfully, we are going to cool off heading into this evening. Mainly clear skies continue overnight, but we are going to still stay warm and muggy. Temperatures getting into the upper 70s for our lows tomorrow afternoon. Another afternoon in the 100s, just widespread across the Coastal Bend. And it's also going to be a little bit on the breezy side. However, that's not going to help when our feels like temperatures are closer to 120 than to 110. The hair dryer that is South Texas will be in full force this entire week. So it's going to be breezy as we head into the rest of this week, the first week of school. But again, very hot. So make sure that you are sending the kids to school with a water bottle. With the dry conditions and the breezy weather, also comes some fire weather concerns. So whenever we've got this combination of high winds, drought, and low humidity like we see in the afternoons, we're going to get a couple days of some increased fire weather danger. So here's a look at Tuesday's forecast. Wednesday and Thursday going to be on the similar side to this map where we have high fire danger across most of the Coastal Bend. So try to keep any spark producing activities to a minimum outside and throw away your cigarette butts responsibly. We're not going to see any rain to help with those fire weather conditions or our drought. Unfortunately, most of the state of Texas is going to miss out on rain for yet another week, including us here in the Coastal Bend. All thanks to these high pressures here. They are going to split just a little bit, but eventually they'll come back together, and I'll show you all that in a second. But the reason we're going to be so windy this week, which makes us still feel pretty hot, but also gives us that fire weather danger, is when we have the high pressures getting close to a series of low pressures going across the Midwest. The contradiction of those two makes us really windy, and the closer they are, the breezier we get. However, heading into later this week, we are going to, again, like I said, see those high pressures join back up over the western United States, making this really big ridge of high pressure over to our west. And again, we're still on the eastern side of that, where we're seeing this sinking air in the atmosphere that heats up and dries out a lot as it comes down to the surface. In return, we are going to see those high temperatures continue to be widespread in the 100s every single day. And since we have that sinking air, we can't have any rain clouds go up. So I showed y'all we don't really have any rain chances. The humidity then is in the form of those feels like temperatures near 120 each and every day. So it's very likely we're going to continue to see the heat advisories and excessive heat warnings every single day. So please keep that heat safety at the top of your mind. 79 tonight, and then into the 100s tomorrow. 90s right along the coast. So very, very hot here. Here's a look at heat indices tomorrow across the Coastal Bend. Again, a lot of places closer to 120 than to 110. So very hot weather. We do have a heat advisory for tomorrow from noon to 7, but I do think it's pretty likely that we are going to see the excessive heat warning get tacked on to tomorrow's forecast pretty soon.
You get asked this all the time. Is there any break in the heat wave coming? I mean, no. You talked about the high pressure systems. Are they ever going to go away from us?
I would hope so, but the 7-day forecast isn't showing it just yet.
So stay in the AC wherever you go.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much, Chris.